In 2022, user Anakin Vitali posted a sample to What's That Song, and in a rare situation, a situation which would usually be extremely helpful, knew exactly where the song was from. A 1998 TV movie called Nightmare Street. This would seem like a quick and easy solve, but the title of this movie would turn out to be a predictor of the nightmare the song would be defined. This is the story of case file 0132363, Edge of a Dream. Edge of a Dream played during about a minute of this mediocre TV movie, Nightmare Street. In case you were curious, the movie involves a woman getting into a car crash and waking up in a reality that's not her own. And the song was probably the only memorable part of it. All the other songs in the movie appeared in the credits, except this one. Kurty pointed out that people had been looking for this song as early as 2005 on IMDb, where one user named Tracy said she had a copy of the song, but it wasn't clear she meant a copy she had just ripped from the movie. And one user asked a question that almost feels like a jinx in retrospect. How difficult could this be to solve, really? We quickly found the person credited for music on the movie, outside the soundtrack that is, Dana Kaproff. And Swior found the music editor, Nancy Severensen, but we decided to reach out to Dana first. User Spy got a quick reply from Dana, and unfortunately he wasn't responsible for the songs in the movie. User Daniel found an email for Nancy Severensen, but never heard back. And user Anth found someone who had commented on a YouTube video about Nancy and contacted them in an attempt to get a hold of her, and was told their message had been passed along to Nancy. One user found a message board where yet another person was looking to identify this mysterious song, and they had an email address, so we reached out to them because, well, power in numbers. Again, this person said they had a copy of the song, but again, wasn't clear what exactly they meant. User GeForce2187 found some YouTube videos of Nancy Severensen, the music editor for Nightmare Street, singing in 1967 and 2011. Yeah, you heard me right. And a deleted user said they had a feeling this would have a good outcome if only we could contact Nancy. We tried to use IMDBPro to contact Nancy too, and while they didn't have contact info for her, we did use it to reach out to the director's talent agent. We also found an email for that woman from IMDb, Tracy, as well as potential social profiles for her, and tried to contact her as well. We felt at a loss, and we felt, like I mentioned, that Nancy Severensen might have our answer. We asked Dana Kaproff, the one that had composed the music for the movie, if he had Nancy's information, but he didn't. We did find a copyright record for a song called The Edge of a Dream, and the response we got from one of the credited writers on the song seemed promising. We were all really excited about it, and then at the end of 2022, we learned that that song was in fact not the song we had been looking for. In fact, the blow was so devastating that one server member added Edge of a Dream to their own list of songs that will never be solved. In fact, the song gained enough notoriety to be covered by YouTuber C.W. Schultz, who has some great videos on Lostwave songs. You'll find a link to his channel in the description below. Then, nearly a year later, we got a hold of one of Nightmare Street's producers, Bill Shippey. Bill said that he believed that Nancy Severensen had found the song, but he hadn't been in touch with her in 25 years and felt he wouldn't be much help. That being said, he tried to get us in contact with Nancy by suggesting that we reach out to the Editors Guild. So we did. Then the Editors Guild replied to an email and said that they'd forward our message along to Nancy, and finally, things seemed to be promising again. But 2 months later, and we hadn't heard anything. As user tobee summarized, Nancy was a ghost. Things were looking bleak, yet again. And I was about to change everything. Before I go on to the best part of the story, I'm going to ask you to like and subscribe. It really helps to keep me motivated and make more of these videos, and also contribute to solves just like this one. Thanks! So, I'm going to be honest now, this Lostwave song really hadn't been on my radar, but after so many of the songs I was trying to get answers for seemed to be going nowhere, this one got my interest. I have a background in the film industry, and I thought, well, maybe, just maybe I could try to contact Nancy on LinkedIn. But her profile there seemed as if it had never been used. But it did lead me to learn the city that Nancy called home, and that in turn led to me finding a site that had 3 contact email addresses for Nancy. So I figured, it couldn't hurt to email them. One of those emails immediately bounced, and it wasn't looking too promising. Then, 4 days later, I got this email. Yep, Nancy had given us a name and a lead we had never had, and it seemed like she had never received any of our prior attempts to reach out to her. She was super nice, though, and I think it's worth noting she's now the music supervisor for both Dancing with the Stars and So You Think You Could Dance. 10 minutes after I shared the email I received on server, I remembered a very useful resource for Lostwave searching. BMI and ASCAP, the two United States musicians' rights databases, have a database called SongView that lets you look up authorship details for any song that's been submitted to them. I made a how-to video about how to search them, and you can find a link to that in the description below. Anyway, I used SongView to look up the music licensing company Nancy had mentioned, DSM Producers, and there it was. A song literally called Edge of a Dream by Cindy and Charlie Wilson. While I tried to figure out if this Cindy Wilson was the same Cindy Wilson that's the lead singer of the B-52s, spoiler alert, it wasn't, we all celebrated and tried to finally close this once and for all. I tried to contact Susan Bader, who ran DSM Producers, but couldn't find a way to contact her. But I did find a man named Kelly Springer, who worked for Susan for years and had recently seen her, so I reached out to him, and he put me in touch with Susan, who finally got back to me and confirmed Edge of a Dream by Cindy and Charlie Wilson was the same song from Nightmare Street. Hey, PersonOfDistraction here. I'm looking probably different than I did for the rest of that video because, well, I shot that video months ago and I was originally intending to release it a different way, but things have changed. Recently there were a bunch of Depeche Mode outfakes that were solved, including a song that's actually very high up on the Lostwave charts in terms of songs that people were wanting to be solved, Treadmill at the time. All of these songs, I think 5 of them in total, wound up being by the same band, a band called Memory Bank. And it was kind of just a project band that these guys were doing for fun and didn't really formally release anything and definitely didn't copyright their songs. We were able to get a hold of one of the band members who basically gave us a sheet that was a listing of the songs that they had put out, and that was enough for us to say, yeah, this is solved, even though we don't have high quality audio. And because we were able to call that solved, we suddenly said to ourselves, well, you know, Edge of a Dream isn't much different. It's incredibly clear this is Cindy. And it's unfortunately also very clear that we're not going to get a hold of Cindy and that all the other avenues to getting a high quality copy of this have been exhausted. So we're now calling this solved. And all I have to say at this point is I'm so happy that I could put an end to the nightmare that was Edge of a Dream. Until next time, I'm PersonOfDistraction, and I'm not listening to